dark. What do you have for us?
Oh baby, I've got another Villainous series. Woo! I have the series. I'm in love with the Villainous, or Watashi no Oshi wa Akuyaku Reijou. Um,
Yes.
and
This
so
is web novel original, I think. Yeah,
this
probably
is
a web
a
novel
light
original.
novel original.
Okay. So the author was a little bit more cultured, a tiny
Yeah,
bit more cultured.
this is a little tiny bit different here. You might be surprised. This is an isekai in which ordinary office worker Rei Ohashi wakes up in the body of protagonist of her favorite otome game, Revolution. To her delight, the first person to greet her is also her favorite character, Claire
Revolution
Francois.
60.
Yeah, dude, I can't stop thinking about that when they fucking bring it up, and it fucks with me every time. But yeah, Claire Francois, the main antagonist of the story. And now, also the other thing is that the main character's name was Rei Ohashi, but the main character in the game is Ray Taylor, Rae. Um, and yeah, so now Ray is determined to romance Claire instead of the game's male leads. But how will her villainous lady love react to this new courtship? Question mark exclamation point. Thank you so much, Mal. So that really doesn't explain jack shit about this. But yeah, I mean, the basic premise is what you'd think of like a lot of these villainous series, except this time it's, girls love like romance stuff.
Yeah.
Um, this is being
Isn't this
done
like the?
by
Is it? I
Platinum
mean,
Vision.
isn't isn't that sort of genre also? I mean, obviously there was a lot of it before, right? Even stuff such as Bofuri before. It's not like you had a bunch of uh male characters kind of trying to mac on the girl, right? It's like the cast was mostly girls and stuff like that. And obviously you had what is it, the revolution or whatever, the magic revolution or whatever that thing was, right? With the two witches, or
Yeah.
with the witch or whatever. um that was also kind of a similar vein as this, right, if I remember correctly.
I'd have to go back, honestly. I just
Yeah,
remember what
but
you're
it's like
mentioning
a
now.
otherworld
Yeah.
like fantasy thing with like the Yuri theme. Yeah, it's been growing in popularity a decent amount recently.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is being done by Platinum Vision. Um,
Okay.
you may know them from fucking that what is this instrument called? Kono Oto Tomare?
Kono Totomare, I believe, near cover that one. It is.
Yeah.
They did the koto, right? The
Yeah.
koto stringed instrument stuff, right?
Yeah, so you may know them from that, or you may even know them from Karoshi Eye or Servamp.
Okay,
Wow.
the Serbian
Um,
thing is no bueno. I don't know about the Serbian thing. I like if I made Serbian, I would probably not have that on my resume. Like that would probably not be part of my
damn, dude,
CV.
that's crazy. But yeah, so this this is what you would largely well, I don't know. So this is a little different from the other villainous series because obviously the main character is not the villainous, and is in fact the protagonist, trying to romance the villainous. So as far as how it pairs up with other stuff, that does lead to some at least like slightly interesting moments slash fun trivia of like the difference between the game's routes and how it like the world space is adjusting to her to Ray going after Claire instead of a
How
male
do
lead.
they how does the anime show the differences between the original game
Um
and what they're going through? Is it just all exposition via words, or like what's happening?
so
Or yeah.
sometimes you'll get exposition via words with Ray, sometimes you will get exposition slash like a visual fantasy of like
Okay.
sort of like the imagined scenario, and then I think a few times, if I remember correctly, and I'm not thinking of something else. I believe in episode one, they did the shtick of like showing the Otome game being played.
Oh, okay, okay.
As
Yeah,
like
yeah.
as
It's
like
flashback.
the
Flashback.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, so this is not as heavy yet on sort of like the what happens to Claire as like with some series are. There are some ends that there are some parts that like it hints at or it talks about, but not really, not as involved as like when it's the villainous like trying to avoid falling into like their endings and stuff like that. It's very much the main character Ray trying to avoid taking actions that lead down the male character route and winning affection with them. Um, there are some points where she, it does the shtick of her slipping up and winning affection with them anyway, just inadvertently. And yeah, that's kind of it for a lot of it. It has the same sort of world building you would kind of come to expect. Um,
Is there any sort of
and so
larger
I want to
fantasy
get in.
drama?
Yeah, so I will get into that. I don't know if I should get into that first or the casting first slash director.
Can you do
Actually, I'll get
casting
that.
staff and then
Yeah,
audio
yeah,
visuals
I'll do
first?
that first. Yeah, so this is the main character is voiced by Serizawa Yu.
Oh,
And it's
okay. Pretty good.
fun, and she does a nice job. And the ED is quite fun because her singing voice is cute. Then there is Claire is voiced by Nanami Karen, which is also good. She
Mhm.
is not a newcomer, but she does not have too many roles.
Right.
Um,
On the up and up.
but yeah, but what she does is fun. So this is her first main, or no, this is not her first main. She was a main in Love Love Alternative, but
No. Okay.
this is her second main. This is so now it looks like from 2021 and 2022 to now, she is going to be getting some more regular work, which is nice as mains at the very least. Also,
Yeah.
this is from Mal, so who knows? She could also be super prevalent in games, but Mal is kind of fucking stupid and doesn't like to credit any of that. Would be nice to have an etc section, Mal. And then let's see. So other than that, you have the supporting cast: Terakama Aimi, Hikaze Yoko for the sort of what do you call it? Like the sort of like twink boy character, because obviously you have to have your male cast. You have Nana Mizuki as a
Wait,
at
wait,
least
wait, wait.
as of
This
far, yeah, as of right now, not really doing a whole lot.
Wait, this isn't a
Uh
wait, wait, wait. The Yu Bauer character is that's not a cross-dressing girl. So it's just a literal like kind of like more feminine boy
yeah,
male
that's the femboy.
voiced by Hikase Yoko.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
it is quite nice. She does a really good job.
Mhm.
You have the maid, which is Hasegawa Ikumi. Yeah, Minaria Sose, she hasn't been in the show very much, Nana Mizuki's character.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
but then you have for like the cool and aloof guy, it's
Yeah.
Namikawa Daisuke.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, who do we have for the
Classic.
expanded? Yeah, it's just like, you have some great stuff. You have Ken for Rod
Yeah.
Bauer. um,
I don't get these. What are these names? What the fuck is
yeah,
Bauer?
they're all the princes,
Rod and
dude. Thane Bauer and Yu Bauer.
this is so like
Um,
I just come on.
but yeah, so it's been very fun with a lot of this cast that kind of kind of going crazy because this is a pretty big cast overall.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah, it's a pretty
And
solid A-lister cat or B, yeah, A-lister cast here.
yeah, so that's been pretty cool. They've been putting in great work. The director is primarily has been doing a lot of episode directing throughout his life, a lot of storyboarding, but has directed from Platinum Vision, has directed that Dr. Ramune from a little while ago with like the weird medicine thing, which was eh. Um, Honestly, not a great showing if we're being real here for this fella. As far as directing goes, been doing some real good storyboarding, evidently though. The storyboarder for D Gray Man 2006, like,
Oh,
dude, let's go. Has done some stuff for looks like one episode director for Hellsing Ultimate, a little bit of episode directing for Odd Taxi, some stuff for Eye Shield, Kuroshi Eye director. But yeah, so not great. Though interestingly enough, he is also doing the dating series this season too, that romance series with the Gyaru. What is this called?
Kimi
Our
Zero,
Dating
Kimi Zero.
Story? Yeah, Kimi Zeta.
Yeah, Kimi Zero.
Yeah, so he is also directing that. So Godspeed and
He's
good
doing
luck.
double duty?
Yeah, he
Okay.
sure is.
We're it's really weird because it's like, um, we've had like two of these directors in as many seasons, right? Um, these directors that are doing like double duty on uh, two different series, and it kind of worries me to think that this might become more and more common as time goes on because as much as there are other staff who obviously make the full anime what it is, and it's not just the director controlling everything and it's just everything's due to the director. That's not the case necessarily, but certainly the director has a important role in directing the anime's vision. And so having them laid out over two series, even if, in some cases they do turn out fine, seems to be a little bit of a worrying aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's obviously always going to be a concern, right? Because you definitely don't want someone to be that split, and that like
Mm.
overworked, if anything, too. Um, but yeah, I mean, the directing in this is really not bad. Like it's fine. It's standard. It's nothing super standout, which is a little unfortunate, but it's overall series wise, gotta say, pretty good. Probably gonna wind up being his best so far. Um,
Mm.
and I guess like audio visuals are pretty standard to solid, like to pretty good. Um, has not done anything like super nutty. But as far as the jokey transitions, it gets the job done and is very fun. And just I think visually it's very clean. It is not a ugly series by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is also quite good. Yeah, and I guess at that I should get a little bit into the more interesting thing that pops up in this series. Roughly, I want to say on the third episode. And I really hope that this series gets more into it. Maybe it will. You know, it's a light novel after all, folks. We're not talking about some four coma. All right. We're talking about something you'd have to read for real. Um, and
Words
what
on a
I'm talking
page.
about, yeah, what I'm talking about is episode 3. They actually have a full on conversation with the main character. Um, like her and her friends. The villainess is at the table. The maid is at the table. Her childhood friend in the game, Misha, is at the table. And they have a conversation where I want to say, I forget which character asks the question. But one of them just flat out asks Ray, are you gay? And they have a back and forth conversation where Ray just goes, yeah. I guess. Yeah, I guess I am. And they get into like, which not like, not the most in-depth thing, but talk about how she's like, because they posited some sort of question where they essentially were like, well, like what if like, like what if one of the princes like made their advances for you? Like surely like you wouldn't say no to like an offer like that or something, right? And she gets into like,
Mhm.
no, like I literally would never be interested in being with a man.
Yeah.
And then they get into a small part of which it's like, this series is woke, folks. Um, of
How did social media take
Claire.
this?
I did not see anything on social media. My social media has been covering something far different. So anime really down on the bottom of the list right now. But it overall, like, I think it was pretty good. They do the thing after where they do like the most basic shit possible, where because like, oh, the other thing I should say is that the main character is very much like pursuing and like thirsting for Claire, right? Like she behaves like borderline, I guess the easy way to describe it, like Kuriko from Railgun, from Raildex. Like that is
Okay,
her
okay.
borderline behavior to the main character. She's super to the villainess. She's super pursuant, constantly praising her. Um the villainess is like kind of starting to like go more dare with things. In the beginning she is very much being the mean girl. Um and moving on from that, um and she's starting to soften up a little bit, though she does want to pursue Thane Bauer because that's her like main love interest in the Otome game.
Mhm.
Though with the way she's warming up, not really sure if she's going to wind up ending up with Claire anyway. I think she might. Would be interesting to see that regardless.
But there's
Um,
not gonna be an after story for this, right? It's just gonna be,
I don't know. I
will they,
mean, it's a
won't they
light.
until the
Hey,
ending?
man, it's a light novel. Who knows, dude?
I guess,
Like
yeah,
books
light
have
novels are a little
endings,
bit better at the like modern these like more modern series are slightly better at doing the after story than they were even like 5, 10 years ago. Where most of the sorts of like romance aspect, rom-com aspects were very will they, won't they, right?
I think.
But it would be nice if they could get together and then there could be something beyond that sort of hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I I wonder if that's going to happen, and the reason why I think, this has more of a chance than ever is because
Hmm.
of the conversation, like the sexuality conversation. Right? Like having that
Okay.
conversation out there and having the character be like, straight up like, no, I am gay. Like this is what I want. Like this is my
Yeah,
orientation.
yeah, yeah.
Like leaving nothing to question. Because again, like we got not really an after story. We got closure that then they ran back because they're fucking pussies, Bandai, but with like Witch from Mercury, right? But then like this series is like, no, there's no question in this series like of what's going on here. Um Claire claims to be straight, and this was the very funny typical like conversation where I was like, you know what, it's Japan, okay? So I'll do a little golf clap, like, you weren't bigoted, so congratulations. But the
Nice.
way
You
they
did. Yeah.
explain it, is Claire makes an offhanded comment about like, now I'm even more concerned or something for myself because like this character is very very lovey-dovey, very touchy-feely, and again the same way like Kuriko would be in like Railgun or something. Um,
Ah, okay, yeah.
so kind of like a legitimate response, realistically, and like tongue in cheek. But then the childhood friend
Mhm.
goes, "Claire, what you said was really bigoted, actually. Actually, sweaty. What you said was not okay." And she goes, "You're straight, right?" And Claire goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay, uh, what if I said, what if I, or like, what if one of like the princes were like, then made a comment about being worried about you just going around molesting them. And she was like,
Right, right,
that
right,
would
right.
be like abhorrent. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why would I ever do that? And she's like, well, that's kind of what you just did. And then she has a moment of introspection, and then proceeds to take it out on other students that make snide comments to Ray by dumping soup on them. Um, yeah, so that was kind of a moment. But again, this is a very much like, this is like, Japan being like, like, wow, you're like not being really fucked up about this. Like, you are doing the bare minimum. Awesome.
The
Great.
author
Love to
is
see it.
actually like, yeah, the author
The
is actually
author is
making
like
sense of people.
making sense of like some scenarios, like doing like very basic stuff, but it's okay, right? Like, gets the job done. It's a fine moment between characters, and it at the very least leaves nothing to question, which realistically is probably the biggest, like the best thing that you could say, or not the best thing you could say about the series, but probably one of the more notable parts. Because, like I said, like even something like Witch from Mercury fucking tiptoed around it, right? Like these
Mhm.
clear like series that are supposed to be like girls' romance, but then just like never
Well, the
really.
interviews blew up, certainly, yeah.
Yeah, it's like they never really actually just why the fuck is this beating around the bush? Like, can we like
Yeah, yeah.
can we fucking have like a relationship here? Like,
Yeah.
can we pick up the fucking pace? So that's nice. Like
It's not like
that is
anybody would mind
genuine.
it, really.
No, that's the thing. It's like it's literally just if we had to say, it's just like Japanese, deconditioning at this point to be like, yeah, we can have like a fucking actual gay character and
Mhm.
acknowledge that. Um and so I think that's fine. I think that's good. I think obviously again the conversation was super fucking cheesy, really basic, but nice that it happened. And gonna be interesting to see where it goes from there because, like I said, Claire in episode 4 especially is far more warmed up to Ray, in the fact that she even rejects an interaction with Thane, her main love interest, over her concern for Ray to begin with. So like that, I feel like who knows where this is gonna go at this point. But the fact that that is out there, I think, is a pretty good sign of actual developments happening. I guess this is also technically a spoiler too. Another part of the conversation that does get into introspection, which I think could be really interesting if they get into it during this series, and also is kind of like, okay, so you get like the author is doing even more with this experience, which also makes me wonder if the author is gay or a lesbian or something. I don't know what the original author is, but I'll have to
Or
see
just
after
might
this.
have friends around them.
Yeah, or at least like knows like basic aspects of that or thought about what that experience would be like. Where Ray gets
Mhm.
into introspection of like admitting that was kind of like essentially coming out was big for her even in that moment because in the past that fucked things up for her because she can be
Right,
as
right.
close, and her explanation was, I'm as close as I want to be when I'm in the closet, right? Like I am really close to these people in the past. Like, and it goes to like a flashback of her in school, like before she, got isekai'd. Um,
Right.
and she's like, I am as close as I could ever be to these people. But then the moment that I like come out and admit it's love, everything changes and I'm shut out entirely. Like that, like total rejection because this is no longer like a friendship interaction. This is an interaction that not only, she explains like this is not only, this is no longer a friendship. This is something that she wants, something completely different than this other person who the implication was this other person was straight in her life would never consider. And then
Right,
that
right,
means
right.
that her sort of bombastic, like lovey-dovey nature comes across way worse, obviously, for this person, or in a
Right.
way different manner. And so I
Mhm.
thought that was really interesting. If they get further into that, which it looked like they kind of were, and they are calling back to that in certain scenarios of Claire's sort of more understanding with
Mhm.
that situation. So I do hope that they talk about that more. I hope they get more into that because I think that's super interesting to actually see that represented in an anime. Because
I just
I
hope
feel
that
like a lot of
that's the
times we don't see it.
yeah, I just hope that that's more the focus and the fear. I haven't read this obviously, but with these series, it's always they have to have some sort of subplot or like setting based like plot in the background, right? Like the king is dying and the eldest son is scheming something, so blah blah blah, and you're just like, all right, all right, this is gonna be like another 4 episodes, right?
Yeah,
So I hope.
as of right now, there hasn't been really anything like that. It's kind of just been all of the school happenings and interactions have kind of been fueling these interactions and
Mhm.
have been fueling like these character moments. So that's
Okay.
been good. There
Yeah, I think
hasn't
that's
been
a better
anything
focus
that's
for
like,
sure.
yeah, there hasn't been anything that is like that where they're like, okay, now we have to like actually do something for the king or some shit. I'm sure they'll get into that, but it does seem to always be serving character development and character interaction more so than being like, now we need to actually like have this, more strict world building or like plot moment as if this isn't like a romance series and is like a fucking adventure series or something. Or like a rom-com. So, that has been also quite good. And yeah, I think this is a very solid series overall. I think it definitely brings something newer to and a little fresher to the Villainous series. I would say this is honestly more enjoyable than um last season's Villainous series. I believe it was last season, right? The most what was it called? Like the most abhorrent villainous or some shit. Like like the most evilest villainous of all. What the fuck? I don't
Yeah,
even remember the
yeah,
name.
yeah.
The one with like the red head or
The
whatever.
mo
And
it's like the most atrocious or whatever it is.
yeah, like that had like some interesting aspects to it, but ultimately it really was just like every other villainous series, if not the what do you call it, like Death Flag, but like way more dramatic and like no comedy, like no laughs, no fun. This is actually serious. And it's like, well, that
Yeah.
kind of sucks. Like now this is just a really like
No, it's just like complaining, yeah. Just
standard
like
fucking what do you call it? Like fantasy series. And it's not
right,
that
right, right, right,
interesting.
right.
But yeah, I think this offers more, and I think it's quite good. I think that coverage of sort of that, like, um, what do you call it? Growing up experience while being gay, if they get more into that, would be definitely the best part of the series. And I hope
Mhm.
they do get a little bit more into that because
Right.
that'll be fun.
What what mall score would you give it? And this one
Um,
is a pretty special one, so.
I'm gonna give it the mall score. I'm gonna give it only the 0.03 more score than what it has on mall. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I'm feeling.
Nice, cause
I'm actually. You know what? I'll do a different scale. I'm feeling. I'm feeling a strong 7 on this one. That's what I'm feeling.
okay.
Strong
Cause
7,
this one
not a light 8, but a strong 7.
I this one was a little bit of a special one because I was reading through some of the reviews on this series. I'm in love with the villainess,
I
and I
saw
came
you
across
post
this
that, and I
review.
could not read it yet.
Yeah, and I'd like you to read through some of the sections of it because this person was apparently not happy with any part of the series. So, for instance, it's fascinating how fundamentally ontologically bad this series is.
Dude, I read this first paragraph. Bro literally just learned what ontologically means and was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
listen, I
And-
got my SAT coming up. I gotta fucking use this thing, like,
yeah.
before I forget.
One half of it one half of it is that the show belongs to the ultimate villainous isekai subgenre, which is objectively the single worst storytelling device in existence. And then
Oh?
later on, listen to this. This is I'm reading this word like verbatim. This is not me making stuff up. So Hamefura got nothing on WataOshi, so Hame flag is the destruction flag or whatever that like a couple seasons ago, right? WataOshi is this one. It's I'm in love with the villainess, I think. So this story loses all sense of purpose before the middle of the first episode. It reminds me of Orwell's 1984, and that if you read the
What?
synopsis and then
This
read
can't
the
be
actual
real.
story, you
I didn't
find
see
that the
1984,
story gives
bro.
you guys
No fucking shot, dude.
he compared it to
Bro is like
1984.
it's the calendar. It's literally the calendar meme, except bro like sees a gay person and goes like, "Oh my
I'm
god,
like,
it's 1984."
I'm like laughing so hard, I'm like drooling right now. Hey,
Gay
what is
people in
happening?
media must be 1984.
Yeah.
This is what they
From
were
Yuri, we get
warned by.
yeah. From Yuri, we get the above with the added bonus of it being a lesbian psycho stalker harassing a straight victim until they turn gay. This is so good.
Yeah, yeah, again, truly the most fucking like oppressed people, the straighties,
Yeah.
the breeders.
Again, it's amazing how this story hits 3 out of 3 with the most reprehensible themes existing within those genres. I would not be surprised if the later episodes also include daughter wife grooming and Japanese World War II war crimes denial. In fact, I expect them to do so for tonal consistency. And then later on, it says 1 out of 10 for anti art. So as the audio one of the audio visual experts in this podcast, Tark, would you say that this series represents anti art?
Yo, bro has a
Uh,
fucking Neko arc picture. That makes a lot of sense.
God, what
What do
a
you
timeline we
mean,
live
bro?
in.
How does he write fucking a review like
Things.
this and be like, yo, by the way, he's gonna like do this much digging and be like, dude, big fan of Konosuba, big fan of Lucky Star, huge fan of Monogatari, by the way. But my
Oh my
critical
god.
eye is gonna be making some real deep cut accusations here. Some real reaches in this one. And it's like, okay,
Oh
man,
my
you should
god.
really like, dig into your own media for a second here. But
Yeah.
um yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's a
listen,
little
listen.
bit it's a
This
little
is a
bit
call out in
unfortunate.
and of itself. Bro is saying all this and he's like, "Oh, yo, my favorite manga by the way is no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular." Okay, man, yeah, true.
Oh god, why? Just why?
Truly the
Just
connoisseurs.
why?
Like,
Just
don't get me
why?
wrong.
God damn it.
I think a lot of what they're liking here is solid. But this is some like weaponized fucking, I don't even know. Maybe Bud is still reeling from Megumin coming out on top in Konosuba, cuz he seems to only have favorited Aqua. So, you know,
Bro, Aqua, just like Amelia,
bro,
they
oh,
deserve
dude,
to
no
be.
way. Never mind, dude. This motherfucker doesn't matter. Bro gave the new Arknights a fucking 9 and Ragna Crimson an 8. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Bro, it's
Get
about
your
hunting
ass
dragons.
out of here,
Bro, that's
bro.
art. It's about hunting dragons with shiny swords, bro. I don't think you understand.
Jesus
You wouldn't understand because
Christ,
you're so
man.
You're so deep up in that
Yeah,
lesbian
dude,
shit,
the
you
new
just don't
season
get
of
it.
Doctor Stone is truly a 9. As someone who likes Doctor Stone, you're out of your fucking mind if you're throwing out nines at Doctor Stone.
Oh
Are
my
you
god.
insane? Like you're
Jesus.
fucking like bonkers. But yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
yeah, that's something else. That review is something else. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense that that the most reactions to this are funny.
Yeah, it's a
I
little
forgot that Maul is fucking actually kind of awesome and added like the Steam reacts to their fucking
yeah,
reviews.
exactly.
So that's
I just wish
cool.
they had clown for like one of the
Yeah, they
emotes.
really need. Yeah, they should have had a clown emoji.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But anyways,
this series is quite good. I think at least as of right now it is. Hopefully it keeps pace.
all right. All right. Well, thank you, Dark, for helping to cover again. I'm in love with the villainess. This also known as Watashi no Oshi wa Akuyaku Reijou. The abbreviated version is WataOshi, I believe. Um, and this is an original. No, this
It's
is
a
a web
light novel
novel.
original.
Uh,
Is it a web novel too?
it started
It
as a
was
web
listed as a
novel.
light novel. Oh, okay.
It started as a web novel. It got pushed to as a light novel like a year after it started up as a web novel, and then it became the usual manga, et cetera thing. So yeah, if you want to see a more interesting take and potentially a more accessible take on how kind of these sort of isekai yuri variants form out, then please do check this out.